Hello guys, how are you doing? It's Saturday here, and we need to see how the week went for uranium. It had a great week. We finally had that, volatility spike, and the good part is it was in our favor. It was to the upside. So we will just have a brief summary, you can say, of I think we have 8 tickers or so that we're looking at. Just to see where we are in uranium, and if we closed on a high note. I think we did on most part. As always guys, follow me here on Substack and YouTube and Twitter also to get more content, and hopefully you like what I do. So let's look into uranium. It's still one of my favorite commodities by far, but I think silver and gold right now is probably a better play, but both will do very well in my opinion, long term. And also now in the short term, it seems like it want to go. But right now, silver has a bit more momentum. But again, it doesn't mean that uranium will go down. I just think silver will outperform a tiny bit here. Anyways, we are talking about uranium, URA. Just before we start here, we had that big pop. It was a beautiful candle. It broke our range that we looked at. We are above the 30 weekly. We are above our golden rail. A lot of stuff going on here. Came into resistance. You can see the blue background there, resistance. Again, we kind of paused there for a bit. When we did the review or the update after this candle, after the close, I had an idea that we were basically going to, come down here with a red candle. So that was that one. And that clearly didn't happen, but we do, however, have this little bit of a doji here. But again, to me, this could also just signal pause before we're going higher, right? So overall, fantastic week for uranium. I really like what I'm seeing here with the volume spike as well on the same day as we were talking about over here, roughly where we started to follow uranium each day more or less, and we were waiting for that spike, and it came, and it was with a green bar. So that's beautiful for URA. URNM. Also here you can see it looks really good here in the short term. We have broken this downtrend here, still within an overall, you can say, 2024 range. We are basically flat for the year, but yeah, this was a huge victory above all supports, above the third weekly. So momentum right now at least is to the upside, and we're also holding. Again, I don't really look at it, but it is there. The 50 RSI is always needs to be above, but we want to rally. We want to rally as much as we can, and we want to get into overbought territory. It sounds kind of counterintuitive, but we really want to get into that overbought territory, and then start to have the weekly come, into the highs of the RSI as well. Again, I think people are using RSI incorrectly. Most of them are anyway. So again, URNM here is also up quite a few percentage points. We are there. So URNM is 5% basically. Fantastic. Again, the weekly bar there. So as long as we hold the blue uptrend here and the third weekly, nothing scared. The scared part comes, if we are for some reason incorrect and we are going like that. That will be pain awaiting, at least for some weeks or months there. URNJ. I want to redo this. I talked a bit with Burak again. He showed me his analysis because I had a lot of difficulties to find out what it was trying to tell, and yes, I will redo the URNJ with a bit of influence from Burak because I think he's amazing, really. But still, my take here for now until I redo it is not redo it. I think these lines will still be on, but I will add more long-term stuff. Again, similar. Again, the spike there above the 30 weekly, falling wedge broken. Yeah, a lot of good stuff. Nothing too in-depth here, other than we want to see continuation for the next week. This is the motherlode of all charts right now, together with the gold to silver ratio, which has broken down, so that, you know, breakdown is quite old. But this, to me, is a very, very good indication that URA is now going to outperform the metal itself. We can zoom out here. You have seen it before, I know. But yeah, long-term golden trend line broken. Stage 2 breakout here, retesting the 30 weekly and the golden now support, breaking higher. This is a really good chart. And if and when we can clear, you know, I think it is when, 0.37 here in the ratio, that's when you have a lot of fresh air, no real, big time resistance. Yes, you have, you know, the obvious ones here. But again, all this down here is then gone. And that's exactly where we want to be. And you know, this is a big Vikov accumulation phase here going on for like 10 years. And if that's the case, as I've been saying many times, I think the uranium miners, first off, is going to outperform in the short term here 100%, and then we spring, and we're talking 200, 300, 400% outperformance of the metal. So, but that's long-term stuff. That's a few years into the making. But the spot price hasn't moved for the past, I think, basically for the entire July. It hasn't done anything. You can see here on the Heikin Ashi a bit more clear, just sideways. But the U.UN, which we're looking at in just a moment here, has broken. So when we see that spike, it's hallelujah time. Getting above the 30 weekly again, holding the double bottom here. 6 month, trend line broken. A lot of good stuff comes if we see a lot of momentum coming up from here. And that's also when that happens, obviously, the spot price rises. The URA, the uranium miners, is set to outperform that. You know, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fantastic if and when we get that. As you can see here, what I'm talking about is the U.UN has broken. I want to remove that. Has broken. You know, the trend line going back not as long here, and you can see here we're about to, again, for now we're holding a double bottom there. Also over here we have a bigger double bottom. So yeah, it's quite good. I can actually see that the U.UN, the 24 trend line is all the way up here. So I was wrong on that one. I thought it was this one. So that's my bad. But again, it doesn't really change the name of the game here. We have broken out of this one here, and we are above the 30 weekly momentum, tiny bit sideways there. It looks good. Looks fantastic. CCJ. For some reason, I don't know. Doesn't matter. All my lines are not here for some reason. That's not the first time. But I just want to quickly draw here. We had that bullish flag, bullish pennant break there, pop about the 30 weekly. Again, Cameco had a 10% day here. We cleared some resistance, some horizontals, and now we are just checking back here a bit. It could drift a bit lower. Sideways to down, and that's totally fine. NXE. I will go to the weekly just to show you how strong this bounce were. Green uptrend ever since the March 2020 lows. You have it there, touches here, coming into that consolidation, searching, boom, we bounced, and then we blasted higher again, above the 30 weekly, and above we had this tiny inverted head and shoulders, which should give us, in the short term target here from this fractal alone, or this pattern alone, should mean that we're going to see roughly $11 here, and we are now at 10. So based on this alone, we should see 10%, a 10% gain, and then higher. But again, if we're going to make higher highs here, we have a lot of other stuff coming into play if that were the case also. So next gen looks incredibly strong. I think I sold my position. I don't have any next gen right now. I added them into other stuff, but I think I sold them somewhere around here. So I kind of missed that move, but again, basically the same as we are now. But right now, I'm definitely, I haven't added in yet here, but again, I'm really looking for a good excuse, you can say, to get into next gen again here. It looks incredibly well. Nothing much here in the gold to silver ratio. The gold to silver ratio collapsing is a good thing for miners. Friday, silver had like almost a 2% down day. Gold more or less flat, so we have this candle here. But overall, long term, we are still below the big breakdown trend lines, and this should, again, below the 30 weekly, which is coming down steeply. Again, silver is set to outperform gold heavily, and that's good for miners, coppers, uranium, and all that. I've shown that case a few times here, but also on Twitter, also on YouTube. So that theory is still very, very much intact. You can see here, again, the dollar, again, we tagged roughly the 84, pulling back, tagging again the long-term trend line here, just to show you that there's so much resistance here still. This is probably the last kind of thing before it goes higher. But until we break, it's really good. Also, we have tons of support below. The 30 weekly, we have the $80 level. So again here, as long as I want to redo that because that's not pretty. As long as we are, this triangle here, it should resolve to the upside, yeah? Flag pull, flag going higher. So obviously getting above 84, 83, 84 over here, very, very bullish. Getting below 80, that is a bad thing, and we're probably going to see at least, 75 again. And for obvious reasons, we want to have oil going higher. But this overall here, looking back roughly 2-3 years, is a really, really bullish setup in my opinion. And now we have this tiny fractal here, Elliott 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we shall see which way it goes. A huge collapse in oil, if that were the case, will not be beneficial for uranium. It doesn't mean that uranium has to go down, but again, if you have the overall energy sector, so because if USD goes higher, if the WTI is going higher, XLE is going higher, energy is going higher, and that's a tailwind for uranium, obviously. So yeah, great week for uranium, absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to see the next week what's happened there. But again, we have taken out all of the shorter term big resistances, and now at least in the short term here, we are talking like a few weeks. We are bullish here, and that hopefully this week, 1 to 2 weeks of bullishness should lead to overall weekly, monthly. Again, we have the big cup and handle here, so this could be the precursor of that mega break of that cup and handle. So if we have some good weeks here, month here, we can start to break and get into fresh air, and then we start to see these massive moves there for URA. So have a great weekend, guys, and yeah, we will see you next week. I will do more videos this week. I didn't do anything Thursday. I had a long recording with Andy from Finding Finance. Check it out, it's up on his YouTube. Part 1 is gold and silver, and part 2 is energy. So I had a good talk with him. He's a great guy, so check him out. And yesterday I was basically going to bed a bit early. So have a great weekend, guys. Cheers.